All this you see on the screen and this banner here and what you see with the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P, it could all change tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. That's when we get the jobs report for the month of May. It depends on what the number is, but it could show a big swing in either way, either direction. We are expecting a job build of about 2,000, I believe. Yeah, 162,000 for non-farm payrolls. If you are an investor with a little lump of cash right now, is tomorrow the day to get back in? Joining us now is Christopher Zook. He's chairman of, is it Caz Investments, C-A-Z? How do you like it? Caz Investments. $500 million in assets. You're doing just fine. What do you say to an investor who calls you up and says, dude, I think we're going to have some pretty decent job gains tomorrow. Should I jump in now?
I think the job numbers will be pretty good. I think now is not the time to get in.
Why?
I think that we could go higher, but I think that there's a lot more risk on the downside right now. And the one thing that I can guarantee we're going to have is volatility. So I think there's going to be a much better entry point than tomorrow.
Well, don't you think it's interesting that these numbers on the screen, we had been down 80-some points earlier with the Dow Jones Industrials. We've had a pretty decent swing here. It's almost like traders and investors are betting that the number is, as you say, going to be good. But why wouldn't you get in at this point? And I noticed that your biggest positions involve silver, involve gold. You like Coca-Cola. You felt pretty decently about maybe oil. Why?
Well, we liked oil a lot January 18th when we said to buy crude oil. We don't like it very much now. So to go back to your question, we think for traders, maybe you can trade the number tomorrow. For investors, be patient. There's going to be a time here in the next 6 months when you're going to get a much better entry point. So don't chase expensive, look for cheap, and that I think we're going to get in the next 6 months.
You know, I often avoid asking guests about rearview mirror stuff, but what has been your best investment in the last year that paid off the best?
In the last year, going long crude oil in January. So we bought crude oil in the $26 to $28 range. We have now exited that position in the high 40s. And from here, we think that we're going to be in a lower for longer situation to where 35 to 55 we think is the trading range for at least the next probably 8 to 12 months.
How closely will you watch the Federal Reserve?
We watch it very closely because it's going to impact the dollar, which is going to impact virtually everything else in our portfolio. So the Feds, we do think that they move. We actually would be surprised if they don't move in July, probably not June. And so from there, we think we're going to get more and more volatility as the expectations build for potentially more cuts.
It's
or
great
more
to
increases,
see you.
excuse me.
Christopher Zook,
Always good to see you.
wonderful to have you. Caz Investments.